Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Dog Walk, the almost daily, one take, uncut, unedited series where I take my dogs out. Usually there's both dogs out. Today it's only Mistra, and discuss whatever has been on my mind for that day. Record everything unedited and one take because I think that there's too much scripting going on YouTube. I think most people are too inauthentic, and I want to show the real me. That means not filtering my message or spending hours trying to embellish it. I want to show my son Felix the true me. The reason why it's only Mistra today is that it's actually freezing cold right now. There's a huge cold snap. In fact, there is a weather advisory out right now, which is crazy because, as you can see, if you've watched any of my more recent videos, which I know you haven't because no one actually watches my videos, you'll notice that everything has melted everywhere. Because even this afternoon, or I should say this morning, when I took Felix and the dogs out for their morning walk, it was plus 17 degrees Celsius outside. And right now, according to my phone, with the wind chill, it's minus 23. So yes, the temperature has dropped by a full 40 degrees Celsius in the last 12 hours, which also explains why it is so windy, because the only way that would happen is by a huge change in the mass of air in the weather system, right? For you Americans, I would say 40 degrees Celsius. The actual formula is 1.8 degree conversion rate, right? So let's say 40 times 2 would be 80 degrees, and then since 1.8, that's 10% less than 2, you'll remove 10% of 80, so that would be 80 minus 8, so 72 degree Fahrenheit drop in 12 hours, which is just completely crazy when you think about it. Also, that little calculation there might be a good little segue into what I want to talk about today, which is also something that I've had as a topic on my list of topics for quite a while now. I was actually thinking originally of adding it as the fourth topic to my series of future systems and how I think our society could better itself in the future. The whole economics and government and all that series. I'll post a card probably if I can. So I've had this topic in mind for a while, but also today I've continued to watch the show I was mentioning yesterday, the Classroom of the Elite, the anime show, season 2 now. And since it's talking about classroom, well, I've had education on my mind, and I will... Oh my, it's freezing, sorry. I'm struggling to speak because there's so much wind and the wind is so cold. So please pardon me. This also probably means that actually I won't get maybe into the whole future education system in this video. I might have to split the talk into 2 different videos because this is just unreasonable. I was not prepared for this wind chill. Let's go this way. Try to keep the wind at my back for a bit, and then use the houses as shelter on the way back instead of walking straight into the wind. So, by the way, before I get into the topic of education, which is what I want to talk about today, I'll also mention that season 2 of that anime show is actually, so far I'm enjoying it more than the first season. And the main reason for that is that they stopped giving random, unnecessary anime boob shots every 10 seconds on the show, and they're starting to focus a little bit more on the actual plots and machinations of the main characters. And so that's actually a nice change of pace. I know a lot of people like the whole anime boob shots, but that's not really my style. So yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by season 2 so far, although I haven't watched all of it. Anyway, so to get to the main topic today, I want to talk about education first of all, because, well, with a newborn son, how I want to treat his education, what I want to do with him, i.e., am I going to be sending him to a specific school? Am I going to try to take the pain and sacrifice myself and my wants in order to send him to private school? If so, am I going to do that straight away, or maybe only when he reaches high school? I've also been reading up on several unconventional types of schooling, such as Montessori, which I will admit I am definitely not an expert. I have just started to read up on it. The concept seems interesting, but if anyone who ever listens to this, and if anyone ever listens to this and happens to know or have personal experience with Montessori, I would really love to hear about it, or for you to contact me. Oh, there goes a light. That's not an ominous sign at all. But I guess since we can't see Mistra, I'll aim the camera at the nice moonlight. But yeah, there's that. But also, I mentioned in other videos, as part of my many postings in the military, I actually spent 2.5 years teaching the candidates who be the baby Aries, baby Aerospace Engineers, in the 9-month in our trade school. What happens is they take everyone who is going to be part of our trade after they finish university, because there's several degrees that are acceptable, right? I did a double major in computer science and space science, but you can also become an aerospace engineer in the forces by being, a mechanical engineer or electrical engineer or anything. So everyone has differing backgrounds, and after they've graduated from university and done their 4 practical phase trainings in the at the bases in the units, where they work with the actual technicians fixing the aircraft, the NCOs that supervise those technicians and run the shops, and then finally with the junior officers who do the job that they will eventually be expected to do. Then they come to the trade school for 9 months to be taught everything that they need to know to normalize their skill sets and to give them the job tools that they will require in order to be able to be at least minimally proficient in every single possible potential first posting that they could go to. So they learn how to become a junior aircraft engineering officer, a junior aircraft maintenance officer, a junior project officer, all of that good stuff. And while I was there at that trade school, I might be over explaining this. Maybe that should have been the topic for another video. But anyway, I taught at that trade school, so I basically taught adult education for 2.5 years. And while I was there, I developed. I'm going down the rabbit hole too far. I'll just finish the thought though. I developed from scratch an entire project management curriculum for the new students that is still being taught today. And also I learned about cutting edge adult education model from one of the researchers who was actually working with different universities in order to develop that model. So all that to say that I do think that education is something that is super important, and I have some experience in providing education in an adult context. And also, I am extremely interested by the topic from the point of view of my son soon starting his own education. So all of that combined is why I want to talk about the topic today. And frankly, this is probably going to be more of an introduction, because I'm going to have to head home soon. My hand is already frozen, but I'll tough it out for now. So where to start? First, I guess I mentioned Montessori. I'll say that's something, or actually, I'll start with my premise. My premise is that I wholeheartedly believe that we need to reform our education system. Not only because, in Canada at least, we keep hearing about how there's a shortage of teachers everywhere, there's not enough qualified teachers, class sizes are too big, there's not enough budget, etc. So that's the first problem, and it's just getting worse. My sister is actually a grade school teacher, and she's tells me a bunch of stories, and it's getting worse. Not only that, is the children nowadays are becoming, actually I won't talk about the children right now. I'll talk about that a bit later. The other issue, or my other main problem, is that just like everything else, we seem to be stuck in the past. Our education system was really, our current education system was really developed and started to take shape at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. And it really, when you look at it, sorry, I have to change hands because my hand is freezing, so my apology if my glove gets in front of the camera lens. I'll try to hold the camera so that's not the case, but okay, our education system was really developed at the dawn of the industrial age with the goal really to pump out factory workers. Like there's no other shorter way to describe it. There's multiple videos everywhere on YouTube or any other resource that explain this at much more length than I am willing to right now, because although I'm very much interested in education, I am far from a scholar of the topic. But what I will say is that it's very well documented that our system was developed in order to pump out factory workers and supervisors, which is why everything is so standardized. Class sizes are relatively big. There's very defined milestones at every grade and blah blah blah. All of that stuff comes from an industrial mentality. And when you think about it, if you consider our children, or if you compare the way we treat our children in the education system to the way we build, I wish I could prevent this, but it's so windy, even if I pick all that paper up, it's all gonna fly away again. So I feel bad, because socially conscious me normally would have picked that up, but considering the gusts of wind we have right now, I realize that's futile. Those people should have kept their stuff out of the curve until tomorrow morning. But anyway, that's completely irrelevant to the topic. What I was trying to say is, if you compare how we treat our children in the education system to the way we build something in a factory, in an assembly line, you can clearly see the parallels between each grade and the different stages of production and all that. So I don't want to hammer on this point too much longer. We are stuck in a mentality of education that is based on the industrial system. And when you look at today's economy, today's world, even if I know I keep harping on it, but consider AI and how it's coming, right? I don't think that our education system is suitable to the modern world anymore. So yeah, we need to stop being stuck in the past and start to find alternative ways to teach our children. At least that's how I see it. I guess, yeah, no, I won't give a preview right away. I will have to make another video. So I guess one of the first things that I'm looking at really is the Montessori schooling methodology. Again, I am not an expert in it at all, and I just realized that the microphone of my phone is probably aimed directly into the wind, so you probably didn't hear anything of what I just said at all. I'll have to watch a video to see if any of this is actually getting captured. If not, I'm completely wasting my time. But yeah, Montessori. In a nutshell, if you've never heard about it, it's apparently an educational philosophy that was developed, I think it was in the late 19th century, by an Italian person whose last name was Montessori, obviously. And the whole principle of it is to encourage as much autonomy and freedom as possible in the child. And it really sounds to me like, oh my, this is cool. It's a system that's tailored towards having a much lower teacher to student ratio, so that the teachers can pay really individual attention to each student, find out what motivates them, what interests them, and then tailor the activities and what is being taught at any time, at all times I should say, to the child's specific interests and needs. Which, in theory, to me, sounds like it would have a whole lot of advantages compared to our industrial system. But I guess my main concern with that philosophy or methodology is, how do I say, I'm not sure. Maybe it's because, like I said, I'm not an expert. I probably am misunderstanding or overgeneralizing, which is, I'd really appreciate some feedback on this. But I just don't understand if it's as free, I'll say, as I think it is. What or how many kids actually would prefer to do math compared to play in the yard? How many kids would prefer to learn grammar compared to, I don't know, paint or draw? I don't know, but I've got a feeling that it's not that many. I might have been interested by that when I was a kid. I was interested in pretty much every topic, but from personal experience at least, it seems like I was the exception, not the rule, not the norm. So, down branches already. That's not good. So yeah, I guess I'm not sure that young children, hell, I'm not even sure that 20-year-olds are mature enough to make the right decisions and to go down the right path for their own education. And by catering only or almost exclusively to their whims, to their desires, to what they like, they might miss out on something, that a passion that they would have developed at a later age once they have matured a little bit. You probably will not develop as many, hard science or complex individuals. So I say complex, I mean, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say, right? You'll have a lot less engineers and scientists and a lot more artists and footballers, right? Uh, it just seems logical to me, right? Most children just want to play. They don't want to study or do homework, right? So you'll be missing out on that, and you're kind of hamstringing the potential, right? And also, it seems to me like that might be encouraging kids to only focus on what they like or only spend time on what they like to the detriment of everything else, which goes completely opposite to one of the other points that I always want to make, which is just like Nietzsche, I think that struggle makes us stronger. Struggle is an integral part to life, and you need to learn to be uncomfortable. You need to learn to still do the math homework even though you don't like math or whatever it is, in order to build mental resilience. And by treating everyone like kings and only catering to their whims and what they want, seems to me like that's sort of counterproductive to create well-balanced adults. So, am I right? Am I wrong about this? It's really too cold. I'm going inside. Consider this as an intro, and I'll continue talking about education tomorrow, because I want to talk about the adult education knowledge coach teach eval model, and then I want to talk about how I think we should actually individualize education in the future. So yeah, I'll stop here for today. Like I said, if you know anything about Montessori, I really appreciate to hear about your personal first-hand experience or anything you might have to say. But on that note, it's freezing cold. Have a good evening.